Can I just get everybody to talk into the microphone that's on Zoom to make sure we can hear you?
Hello?
Thank you.
Check.
Hello, hello.
Hello? Oh, yes.
Hello, hello.
Time you want to talk, you just
Hello.
turn.
Sure.
I'm here.
Hello.
I would like to call the Umatilla Budget Committee meeting to order at 6:29 on March 17th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Counselor Funderburk,
Here.
Counselor Duffloff,
Here.
Counselor Katie McMillan,
Is excused?
Counselor Smith,
Here.
Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Here.
Counselor McLean,
Here.
Mayor Sipe,
Also excused?
Committee Member Cotterall,
Here.
Committee Member Zittercobb, Committee Member Simmons,
Here.
Committee Member Cahill,
Excused?
Committee Member Pratt,
Here.
Committee Member Osorio.
Also excused.
Thank you.
Looking for a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Start Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks, Den.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bad habits, not following my own guidelines of marking things off on the agenda. Okay, now I'm looking for a motion for approval of the agenda as presented.
I'd like to make a motion. We approve the agenda as presented.
Have a motion, looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Counselor Funderburk,
Aye.
Counselor Duffloff,
Aye.
Counselor Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor McLean,
Aye.
Committee Member Cotterall,
Aye.
Committee Member Zittercobb,
Aye.
Committee Member Simmons,
Aye.
Committee Member Pratt.
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda. Any questions regarding minutes from the previous meeting? Seeing none, a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion. We approve the April 15th, 2025 minutes.
Have a motion, looking for a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Counselor Funderburk,
Aye.
Counselor Duffloff,
Aye.
Counselor Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor McLean,
Aye.
Committee Member Cotterall,
Aye.
Committee Member Zittercobb,
Aye.
Committee Member Simmons,
Aye.
Committee Member Pratt.
Aye.
Well, I'm batting 1,000, huh? Getting things out of order. Yeah, well, on we go. So other than wrong numbers and calling it the wrong thing, if there's no objection, we have moved on to item 6.2, preliminary budget review and discussion.
All right, thank you. Rich, I know you're online for your benefit. I just emailed you a copy of the packet so you can follow along if you would like. I just want to remind the committee that tonight is our workshop, not our formal budget meeting. And what that means is we can have discussion, we can can answer questions, but we can't do any formal deliberation or decision making on actual budget numbers. That will be done at our next series of budget meetings in May, once we present you with a proposed budget document.
I have a quick question, Melissa. Are you gonna have another one of those spreadsheets, you know, the thick packet like you've had in the past?
So I gave you one packet tonight. This is what you historically get at the workshop. And then yes, we'll give you the actual numbers prior to the next meeting that we have.
Tomorrow or the one in May?
The one in May, prior to the one in May.
Committee members, I would just like to remind you to please make sure you're using the microphones so our system can pick up your voice. Thank you.
So as far as structure goes, you all have noticed that we've switched to the potential of having 2 meetings back-to-back nights, and then we moved them earlier to 6 o'clock. We did that just because last year was a very long night. If we do make progress tonight and were to make it all the way through, we do have the potential of canceling the meeting tomorrow, but I wanted to make sure that we had the flexibility to have the meeting noticed properly if we did feel the need to adjourn and continue discussion tomorrow. Because this packet does contain information regarding council stipends, I would ask at this time that the counselors declare an actual conflict of interest regarding the stipend. We will have that conversation and have counselors refrain from participating in that discussion, and then we'll move on to the rest of the discussion as a whole.
Would you like those declarations now?
Yes, please.
You gonna
I
start?
would like to make yeah, I'll go ahead. I'd like to make a formal conflict of interest, actual conflict of interest regarding the discussion with council stipends.
I would also like to make an actual actual conflict of interest due to the stipends.
And I would also like to make an actual conflict of interest in regards to the counselor stipend.
I'd like to declare an actual
Conflict of interest.
conflict of interest regarding stipends for counselors.
I, Bruce McLean, would declare an actual conflict of interest regarding the stipend for counselors.
Anybody else who would like to declare any other actual or potential conflict of interest at this time? Okay. And so committee members, for your guys' knowledge, the city councilors have historically appropriated funds through the budget process, and then and the second is policy. And so through the budget, we appropriate a dollar amount, and then the council policies and procedures also have a policy in order for them to receive the stipend. And so what we have reflected in the budget previously is $100 per month to the counselors as stipend compensation. There was discussion at last year's budget meetings to change the structure of did not update their policies and procedures the prior year, so we've been operating under the same $100 a month. As the policy hasn't changed, that is what we are proposing that we would move forward into the next year, is to continue on until a time at which council were to change their policies. Is there any discussion or that the budget committee members would like to have about the stipend? Go ahead.
I'm just going to add one thing. So back in, excuse me, back in January, our attorney sent a memo to the council on this topic, and just for the committee's information as well. So last legislative session, 2025, Oregon Legislature amended ORS 244120C through Senate Bill 983, which is specifically creates an exception for voting on stipends and appropriations for elected members. So what that means in practice is what we actually did last year prior to them to it being adopted is the actual procedure that the state legislator recommended that we do, that you an actual conflict of interest, do not participate in in those discussions. And then if the budget committee, if it moves forward for it to happen when it comes time to actually vote on the stipend, they declare the actual conflict again, and then they can actually go ahead and vote even though there is an actual conflict of interest. So it provides that exception in the voting specifically to stipends for council members. So just so you know what kind of the road that brought us here and what's happened at the state level as well. So that's where we're at.
Okay, hearing no conversation on stipends, I'll go ahead and go back to the beginning of the packet and we'll move on.
We discussed it quite a bit last year.
We did.
So I'm fine with it.
All right, and I guess I should probably back up a little bit. We have Joelle, who is our newest budget committee member. I think everybody else has been through this process before. I did get the opportunity to sit down for a while with Joelle and go through kind of budget committee member orientation 101. So just if you have any questions as we go, let me know.
You guys can make sure your mics are red, so it's not competing.
Let me test. Is it working now? Okay. I need to maybe just be closer. Oh,
Make sure it's green, and for the counselors, it's opposite. When it's red, you're talking.
Okay. We do have quite a bit to get through over the next night or two, so I'm going to try to not read this directly. We're going to try to paraphrase and take together what we can. But if I get going too fast and you have any questions, please at any time interject and ask them as we go. So the first thing that we talk about in this packet is what our certified PSU certified population estimates are going to be. So this year, our estimate is up 356 people, which is 4.3% population growth in 1 year, which is pretty tremendous. That is relevant to us for the city as far as our budget goes, because of some of the revenue that we receive from the state is allocated on a per capita basis. That population number is unique here in Umatilla, as it does include our incarcerated population at the prison, which is about 1,600. So our unincarcerated population is around 7,000. The next section there, number 2, does talk about those revenues that we get from the state. We will have 2 pretty in-depth conversations on those revenues. We have to have 2 public hearings that we elect to receive the revenue. And so I'm not going to talk about each one individually tonight. The gist of it is that those revenues are trending downward. In liquor revenue, the state is building a new facility, and so a portion of the city's revenue is going towards construction of that project, and so we're seeing a decrease there. And then cigarette revenue has been trending downward over the past several years as well. So overall, next year, we're expecting a decrease to the general fund of about $19,300 from the state revenue. The street fund also sees revenue from the state, and that revenue is going to be just about flat next the per capita. The franchise fees. So the first category are property. Our total taxable assessed value for this year is over 942 million, which is about a 4.3% decrease in value from the prior year. This is that better? Okay. Fortunately, the majority of the decrease was offset with new construction growth. And we anticipate that next year is going to be similar, although the depreciation and reduction is almost exactly equivalent to our increase in construction. So really, we are expecting a very slight increase in property taxes, it equates to about 1.6 or 7%. We're going to get about an extra 50,000 in property taxes. The next category there that I mentioned was payment in lieu of tax. So the city has several enterprise zone or SIP economic development agreements with the data centers in town. And each one of them is structured a little bit differently. So PDX2, the first data center campus up in the port, is fully out of its abatement period. That amount is what's included in that 942 million. We also have an agreement for PDX 63 on Lind Road. Out of that agreement, we receive 73,000 in annual property taxes, but that's included in that number that I already gave you. We also receive a community service fee, which is about 91,000 a year, and then we get an additional annual improvement payment. Our distribution this year of that was 3.5 million, and we expect that to remain flat for next year. PDX 130 is the data center that is being built out on Wanapa Road, next to where, well, it's where we just took our council tour, past the prison. And we receive an annual improvement payment for that. That was 1.425 million this year. That more construction was completed this year, so we expect that that amount will increase to 2 million next year. We have an enterprise zone agreement for PDX 194, which is the data center that's been constructed on Powerline. We are going to be receiving our second payment of about 1.6 million for the additional annual fee. And then we also will get ad valorem taxes about on 29 million, which is about 87,000. And then those will continue for the full abatement period. We do have 2 additional Amazon campuses that have approved agreements but have not started construction yet. And so we don't anticipate any payment in lieu of tax for those in the upcoming year. We also have an approved enterprise zone agreement with Sabi, which just broke ground, and we don't anticipate any payments for that one next year. So in summary of all of the campuses, we expect to receive about 7.3 million from our SIP and enterprise zone agreements combined next fiscal year, which is a $925,000 increase from the current fiscal year.
Where are the 3 new ones going to be?
So the one out on Wanapa Road, there will be one adjacent there. PDX 260 is supposed to be next to the one on Powerline Road, although that one has been significantly delayed due to power supply issues. And then Sabi, the first one, will also be up in the port across from the prison. Any other questions before I keep going? Okay. There is a program that we utilize for street projects. It's called the Surface Transportation Block Grant. We used to just accumulate funds and apply for those as needed. The state has switched the way that they're doing that, and they're just automatically sending us our allocation each year, but those are restricted street funds. So next year we expect to receive just over $100,000 for that, which is about a 7% increase from the prior year. And then the last major category of revenue that we'll talk about is electrical franchise revenue. So we have seen significant increases in that over the past several years, just as the data centers are coming online and have higher power usage there. UEC, our agreement with them, currently has a cap of 1.5 million that's in effect through 2029. We are already receiving that full cap, and so we just project the same amount next year. Pacific Power has historically not provided power to data centers, although they supply the campus on Powerline Road now. And so we've seen a really large increase there. We were receiving about $300,000 a year in franchise revenue from Pacific Power, and we anticipate that it's going to jump up to about 1.4 million next year. So that'll bring our total electrical franchise revenue to just under 3 million. Yeah.
Melissa, does the money from UEC and Pacific Power for the electrical, does that offset any electrical costs that the city pays or that the citizens pay? Or where does that money go?
You can or I can. So the electrical franchise revenue flows into the general fund. It's fully discretionary funds. The way that our agreement with UEC works is that, so both companies assess the franchise fee on all of the utility bills that they send out. With UEC. Once they've assessed that maximum account, the majority amount which goes to Amazon, then all of the customers, basically they turn off the franchise fee billing for the remainder of the year.
Is that?
So essentially it's a special assessment that you would see on a bill. Once they've billed out their maximum, then that pass-through fee that the customers would usually get, that extra tax, ceases to exist. And so the customer's bill would be reduced and would not have that.
And those are UEC, that's mainly the farming community. That's mainly the farming community and other businesses, correct?
Yeah.
From UEC?
Yeah, the UEC's territory is, well, we don't have too much farmland inside city limits, and so it's almost all the industrial areas of town. So Beach Access Road into the east, so that's gonna be the prison, the one data center, two under construction, United Grain, and everywhere else to the north end of the Port District. There is a few small areas throughout this town that has UEC, but the majority of it's the industrial areas. The rest of it is served by Pacific Power. The city is just like anybody else. We're a customer for utility providers. And so when you get like your monthly bill from Pacific Power, you'll actually see your base rate, your usage rate, and you'll see on the itemized list on there, you'll see a city franchise, or it'll just say city fee, and that's what that's referring to. So they're collecting that each month from all users of the system, so residential, commercial, and industrial. So in a sense, the city, we actually pay it too because we're a customer. So we pay our utility bill and we pay it, and then the percentage from that franchise fee also comes back to the city as well.
I don't want to take much time. Excuse me, I don't want to take much time with this. It's just that the concern with the data centers is that the electric bills are going up for citizens. And is there a way to help mitigate some of that with the money that Pacific Power pays?
Yeah, so again, UEC, all the data centers with the exception of one, PDX 194 up in South Hill, are in UEC territory. And this is not an exact number, a little bit anecdotal, but about 97% of all residential customers in the city get their energy from Pacific Power. It's close. That's not an exact number, but it's close. We don't control those rates. And we're very happy to have them come and present to this committee if that's something that we'd like, but they base it on, they have their rate. Most of them get their power through Bonneville Power or other solar or wind or other kinds of things that are feeding into the grid, and they have a whole system on how that rate is developed. But we haven't seen what I would call rates increasing more than just the traditional inflationary rate here since the data centers have been here, but we can ask them what those might look like. I mean, they're ranging the normal inflationary rates somewhere between, I think the lowest I've seen in the last decade has been about 3%, but typically they're going up about 4 to 6% a year, which has been kind of the rate that's going up. Bonneville Power, for example, who provides most of the power to everybody else, their rates have been going up about 6 to 8% per year. It's been kind of tricky. Those that are on UEC actually have a lower rate, but there's not very many people, residents in Umatilla that are being served by UEC. Most are being served by Pacific Power. Joe? Yeah. So that's a good point. So the Public Utility Commission, the PUC out of Portland, but out of Salem, they're the one that regulates. There's a difference. UEC is a co-op, so that's owned by individuals. It's sort of like a share. Everybody owns a piece of that company versus Pacific Power, which is quite literally managed by the utility board. So we don't set those rates locally. They don't even really set them here locally. They're started at that state and federal level, and it sort of trickles down through. Yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Okay. We're going to move into what we anticipate for expenses next year. We'll do it by department and then a couple different categories on the tail end. So the first one that we have here is the police department. And we have received estimates from Umatilla County. Our dispatch fees will be increasing by 6%, which is right now we're currently paying 192,000 and will be going up to just over 10,000 to 203,000. That is dollar-wise a lower increase than we've seen in previous years. Typically, they've been requesting greater than our $20,000 cap, and so we've been sticking with that $20,000 contract maximum, but this year it's a little bit less. Most of you may remember that in the current fiscal year, through our budget process last year, the police department started transitioning to 5-year vehicle leases rather than purchasing new vehicles. And so next year we will have our payment of $76,000 that resulted from the current lease that we have of 6 vehicles. And the department is requesting that we add 2 additional Durangos to that lease rotation, which would bring on an additional payment of $27,000 per year. The vehicles that would be replaced currently are Durangos that have 98 and 99,000 miles respectively. They are also requesting $20,000 to replace their current side-by-side, which is more than 8 years old. It is limited to 2 seats, and so their proposal is for a 4-seat side-by-side unit that would allow them to improve mobility and safety in the parks and pedestrian-only areas, and then also allow them to use that during high attendance events.
Melissa,
Yes.
I'm sorry, that bill is 30,000, not 20. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You sent me the quote today. My packets were already printed. Okay. The police department currently has a drone that is 5 years old, and they are requesting $9,000 to purchase a new drone that would provide improved thermal imaging, low light performance, flight stability, secure data handling, and allow them to more safely and efficiently conduct search and rescue, missing person searches, disaster response, suspect containment, and hazardous scene assessments. Another item that Chief brought to us was allocating $10,000 to the Umatilla School District to complete a comprehensive standardized grid-based safety mapping for each school campus. There is a possibility that IMESD will fund half of that mapping, but we're requesting the full amount be included in the budget in case that partnership and matching funds are not secured. The PD has contracts with Axon for body cameras and a dash camera system that integrates with the body cameras. Those cost of the system is spread over 5 years, which is going to continue for the next budget cycle. That's about $60,000 a year. And they are requesting that we add the AI-powered real-time translation option to that existing body camera system. The upgrade would be $9,000 annually and would allow officers to communicate directly with individuals speaking over 50 different languages. I'm sorry? Okay. And then the next item, we currently have a contract for TASER replacement that is expiring. The contract that was in place was $6,100 annually to replace 14 TASERs over a 5-year period. Due to the increased number of officers in the department, Chief received a quote to replace 20 TASERs over the same 5-year period. The updated cost is $13,700 annually. It does include replacement handles, docks, batteries, and holsters, and all required licenses for the TASERs. And then one new item that you will see going into next year, well, I guess 2. So the police station is currently under construction now. So council created a new fund to account for the receipt and expenditure of bond funds. So that will be a new fund included in the proposed budget. And then we are going to also be implementing the first round of public safety credits to residential taxpayers, which will be equal to the annual property tax payment that they've made towards the bond. And so that will be reflected as an expense in the general fund of about 115,000. Does anybody have any questions about the police requests? Go ahead, Denise.
On the dispatch fees, do you have a reason why they're, we spent a lot of time last year talking about that too. Is there a reason why it's much less than you had anticipated?
Ideally, they would have liked to have requested more, but they came to the cities late in as far as timing goes, when everybody was already preparing their budget. So they just went with a flat percentage increase this year. They are interested in talking about a change to the distribution formula that would allocate the cost of the dispatch center, but they weren't making any changes this year. So they just applied a flat percentage to keep everybody moving through the budget process.
Are you guys feeling more secure with that?
This is a more reasonable request. 6% is still a little on the high end, but way more reasonable than what we've seen in the past.
From a simply budget perspective, it does seem far more reasonable. The other thing, they're also in between staff. Their finance director is retired. And then they had a new finance director for about 5 minutes, and he moved on to Pendleton, and now they have another new finance director. And so their retired finance director is back sort of helping things out. So because all this analysis and it came late and everything else, they admitted there's no analysis to this. We plucked a percentage out of the sky and just sent that out, so that buy them some time to create that analysis. In the world of operations, it's far more complicated. Not only our PD, but other PDs throughout the county, other public safety. There's a lot more discussion that needs to continue through that. I will say they do seem, at least the last time we met, they seemed significantly more committed to having more open discussion, dialogue